running up to this Class 101. I haven't got the manual for this one, but I have a lot of instructions, as in I know how to do it. I've already done it before, many times. Every single time is more fun. So the first thing we're going to do is an isolated battery, which cannot be done, so it's already been done. Now we're going into the rear cab, and we're checking the brake, the air pipe, the air pressure, which is in the required position, so we won't have to do a local engine start. To see one of those, you can refer to the video in the how-to series. There we go. So first releasing the handbrake. Then we're turning on the tail lights, because this is the opposite end from which we will be driving from. Now I'm just going to set on my destination board to not in service. The minute I can. There we go. Not in service. Now we'll go to the other end. We've got to externally inspect that it is on. Perfect. There we go. Now enter the locomotive. Right. So we want to climb up, sit down, turn on all the lights that we need, including headlight, marker lights and destination blind light, which you can see the difference like that. And now we're just moving this to not in service, just so you can see the difference again. That's it. There you go. And back down again. Not in service. Right. Close my door. Open the window. First thing we're going to want to do, insert the master key. Second thing, reverse it forwards. Check we've got no lights. So power 2, prime the engine a moment. Then start the engine. There we go. And get the power down to idle, then get the AWS isolation lever on unisolated and acknowledge the warning horn. Turn on the coach lights for our next procedure, which is going to be doing a brake test, which is going to take a bit of a while, because we're going to have to open every single door in the consist until we get to the guard's compartment, which is this one over here. Right. Right, so the first thing we want to do is do a manual brake test from the cab. So release the vacuum brakes and wait for them to release is the first thing we're going to do. Now I'm going to give the engine a little bit of power to create the vacuum a bit faster. It's pumping a bit quicker. I'm just giving you a bit of an external view. And then once the vacuum is, we can turn off the RPM. Perfect. Now we verify that the engine RPM is the same on 1 and 2, which is true. Now we're going to test the brakes by setting them to full service. Perfect. And then we're going to create a vacuum again. Okay. Taking a little bit of a while. Okay, now we're going to test our emergency brake valve. So once the vacuum brake has, well, not the vacuum brake, once the vacuum has reach the required position, we will set it to lap. Now set it to lap and open the emergency brake handle. Again, it sets it to 0. So we're now going to release the vacuum yet again to create a vacuum. It is now in the creation process. Right, boost the engine again a bit. Hear it from the outside, just so that we don't have to wait as long. There we go, it's nearly done. So we can release again. Right, now we're going to set the brakes to lap. We're going to head all the way down to the guards compartment, and we're going to make an emergency brake application from here and check that the pressure, so you can see that the dial there goes down to 0. Indeed it does. And now I'm going to go and set it to release back in the cab. Usually we'd have a guard to do this, but unfortunately today I'm on my own. Get that onto released. I'm going to turn on my light, and now once I close the valve, you'll be able to see the pressure slowly build. There you go. And let me just check it builds to the correct pressure. And now we can turn off the train lights, and that'll be the end of this video. There you go, the vacuum's now building a bit faster. It's now reached 5 bar. There we go. And it's got to go to 21 pounds per square inch. And once it's reached that, we can go back to the cab. It's fine, so we can now close up all the doors we've opened. This one and the driver's cab. Now we turn off the train lights, which are now off. Turn off the cab lights. The brakes are now released, so we can put it in first gear and edge the power up. Use functionality two-tone horn. And get moving. Come out from here. Change these points. And we should be going into, no. We've got a coal train headed by a class 37 over there. But we're in our class 101, over speeding, 4th gear to coast, put the brakes into lap. Well, we passed the 37 and the class 08, we cold started earlier. There's the 37. And then there's the class 08. As we now apply the brakes. To a decent level, to initiate the braking. I think we'll leave our train here. And just put it into neutral just before stopping. So pretty perfect. Right, now we're going to reverse. And that'll be the end of the video. Now, put it into first gear, gently edge it back. There we go, get the head out the window. And power up. Get the power down again. And get the power into 4th. Lap the brakes past the 37 and the 08. Hear the Spirax valve there. Get the brakes applied a bit. Coming now into the junction, release the brakes. Lap them again. And apply completely. Now, lap, release. There we go. And we can now stop. And and you leave me for the last ever episode of Train Sim World 1, a bit horn. It's now been a whole year and a half of Train Sim World in my channel. So a bit of horn there for us, and I'll see ya in Train Sim World 2. Isn't that exciting? See you guys.